Hello, everybody. You know what time it is. I know what time it is. That's right. It's time for Syntext Live. How you guys doing tonight? I'm doing okay. I think I'm alive. Hold on. Nope. I'm dead. I'm a zombie. Oh, shit. And let's get this all started right when starting up.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
As I pop a top and say hello to all you bad motherfuckers out there. And I hope you're doing well. And here's a drink to all your health. And first things first, yep, I see a whole bunch of folks in here, which is excellent. And I'm going to pull up my media assets here. Now, I did get a few videos. I had to alter one or two of them, so hopefully everything works out. Sometimes there's a little disconnect. However, let's get things started off with a bang. Wait, did somebody say bang? All right. Awesome. Let's get back into this already. First off, thanks everybody for being here. And let's jump into our weekly review with The Files. I pulled up this one in particular, guys, because, well, this one got the most comments, and most of the comments were about the picture. I will say this. There's a certain person in here who...
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Something is right, because just as we get started, I got to pause with a $10 super chat from MTF Guard. And before I do anything, I'm going to play his sound effect. You guys got to let me know what you want for sound effects when you send stuff in, because since he sends me a bunch of 40K, I tried to get this in 40K, but all I got was
heresy. Remove this filth.
And I wanted to get the whole heresy, but it just, the ones they had were just horrible. Oh my God. And the thing is, they didn't put the half a second pause in the beginning, so it actually cut it off. And it sounds like heresy, not heresy. I'm like, you bastards. And he says, hope you like some of the R6 clips I sent you. I sent you yesterday, so I don't know if they made it to you yet. Yes, they did. They came in, and like I was saying, at least one of them I had to alter, but hold on, let me say it right. But I don't know if it was actually going to play right. We won't know until later. So thank you again, Guard. Appreciate it. So as far as the files go, the Kitsune in particular was supposed to be a redhead. I guess most of you can figure out why that was going to be. However, I did alter it because I actually create the thumbnails before I record. Mainly because I have to, because that's the way my editing software works. However, it has played in. A lot of the... hold on. You know, Erica, you never sent me anything here as far as your... what you want for a sound effects. So I think you were the one who recommended...
Inconceivable!
Which I can never get the sound up high enough. And she sends a $10 super chat. And she says, I like the ghost who done it mystery, HFY. Oh, yeah. And we're going to get into that in a second. I'm just going to, write this down so I don't miss you. And we will be covering that one as well. And also recommendations for you guys who might know murder mysteries better than I do, or I should say mysteries in general. I'm doing a lot of this based off of a friend of mine who was an MP, and he gave us all the long drawn out crap they have to do. But I figured with HFY, you could see some of the special effects as well. Anyways, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Now, as far as in the files, dealing with the Arachne, it was brought up. They could have just brought in the atomic football or just launched a Davy Crockett down in there. If you don't know that it's actually on what you're trying to blow up, you never know if it's actually blown up. It's just that simple. I've had this same thing. Don't ask me what type of mission and don't ask me what country I was in, but it was the same thing where I literally got smacked upside the back of the head when I was like, can't we just take it out from here? And he called me a dumbass because I thought I was trying to do things the easy way. He's like, you got to verify. Thankfully, our engineers did what they were supposed to do. Anyways, the recommendation inside the comment section was to talk about things like elves, giants, and things like that. So that is why on the next one, when we went into the actual clowns, as in the code name for the Nephilim, or Nephi, you know what? I don't even know how to say it right. I'm sure there's a correct way. I just don't know if I'm saying it right. But regardless, I did talk about giants. I did touch on elves a little bit and all that because I was going to talk about fairies again, but I already did a file one on the Fae and how dangerous they are and all that shit. They're not to be trifled with because they will hurt you. And it's War Sniper, which, by the way, War Sniper, even though he doesn't send the super chats, he gets a sound effect because it's always been on my soundboard. He says, found around Friday. I expect more in the clear. My clips are ready, and I only have to send them. Okay, by all means, send them. Only got about 4 or 5 what Guard sent me. No, the Guard, the Fae are actually very, very dangerous. If you go by old Scottish lore, which they are up there in the Highlands, since Fae are partly ethereal, or I should say half ethereal, kind of half in, half out the hole there. If you sit there and you are ultra depressed, it physically hurts them. So they will try to take you out. That's the easiest way to stop you from feeling depressed. Also, they don't want you to actually end yourself, because if you end yourself, your spirit remains. If you get ended, your spirit doesn't. That's how that whole thing goes. However, if you're like super uber depressed, they will actually lance you through the ears or through the eyes. And by the time you even realize they're there, because they move so damn fast, you're already dead. They are extremely, extremely dangerous creatures because you can't tell. That's why when I did the files one with the Fae, he actually said he had to go with like a full face helmet and like neck protection because they'll actually slice you so fast that they'll dig into your carotid artery, hit you like 5 or 6 times before you're like, I feel something. Oh, fuck, I'm bleeding. You know, that would be bad. Anyway, that's one of the reasons why I see Chris is talking Tinkerbell here. Tinkerbell was, if you've read the original, she was mean. She actually tried to kill Wendy just out of sheer jealousy. The Fae are, again, not something to be trifled with. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about the elves, but I didn't want to make a whole file on elves, specifically because that species has been done to death. And I also just did last week, you guys seen in Something Familiars, I went really deep in with the elves. I had to take a break from them. Now I did talk about giants. That was requested, and they are the like great or grandchildren and great great grandchildren of the Nephilim, and that's why they are the way they are. You know, genetics is still a thing, and yeah, on and on and on that went. So, anyways, I'm gonna pull that one off because there really wasn't much in the comment section. I will go into the next one, which is the mystery. Mercy is expensive. And I put this one on instead of the latest one just on a whim. Now, oh, shoot. I forgot to put up the thing for Something Familiar. Let me pull that off here. Damn it. That was dumb on me. I wanted to talk about this because it was sent in the comments section. In case there was a miscommunication, yes, the Elf Society is a matriarchal society and is extremely strict on the rules. Some folks, because they actually know the lore of elves, understand that that's a big deal with them, the actual purity of the blood. They even touched on that in Tolkien's work. I mean, he didn't go absolutely batshit crazy. Like, they would actually in some lore, they would actually kill a half-breed. Didn't matter how good they were, how powerful they were, they would just slaughter them. It's absolutely crazy. And yeah, I did forget the syntax on it. My fault. So anyway, mercy is expensive. Here we go. This is my first attempt on mystery. Try not to get ahead of me too much in the comment section, guys. I know a few of you probably watch a lot of those cop shows, and you are very, very good at figuring this stuff out. Don't do the spoilers, guys. I'm trying not to do the spoilers. However, if you recommend something in there, if something doesn't make sense, you got to let me know if I missed something. Because if I miss something, I can't fix it if I don't know what's missing. Let's see. This was a funny one in the comment section. I want to climb into my refrigerator for repairs, as in go into like a healing pod or something. Now, here's the kicker. And I'm going to be freaking you guys out later. Science fiction's not science fiction anymore. And we're going to go into that. I actually brought references this time. So again, there wasn't much in the comment section on this. You guys just got to let me know if you're enjoying it. I do have to say that someone did put in the comment section that the hype function was there. I can't hype anything from my end. That's all on you guys. All right, let's talk about 3i Atlas. And I put that on here just in case it is an invasion. There's a whole bunch of shit going on that. It just now left the other side of the sun. And unfortunately, a lot of people are having trouble locking onto this thing because they don't know exactly where it's moving to at this point. Something is just off, and they're just confused. Okay, it's everybody is confused on that one. I will say this. Yes, I did use 3i Atlas as a catalyst for Mercy is Expensive. So whoever put that in the comment section, you are right. That comet that hit, that caused all the problems, and then there was an invasion coming out of what crashed. Yes, that was it. Somebody mentioned Underground Railroad, and that's the reason the Patriarch got all screwed up. Well, you're gonna have to see. Let's see, where was I? All right, I'm gonna pull this one off. Before I move on to the next one, I do have to say we do have a new person. I don't know if he's in the chat yet. He goes by TBFB1 Sierra Quebec, and yeah, apparently he's been watching They Call Us Monsters for a while, and apparently he's really loving it. So just wanted to give a heads up because I don't remember seeing that call sign ever. All right. On to this more science fiction that is not quite science fiction anymore. Now, I don't know if you guys watch any of the quote-unquote conspiracy folks who bring up all the different videos and show all the different tech that's supposed to be hidden. However, come to find out, there was a company that they actually called themselves Telomere Pharmaceutical, and all caps on telomere. And if you don't know what the telomere is, every time your DNA divides, the very tip of it, the telomere, and it rips. And when it rips down to nothing, and that's what's caused aging, you know, once it rips down to nothing, then it dies, and you can't have that. You're gonna be done if that happens. However, they found a way, an oral medication, no joke, it's actually a little blue pill, and I had to laugh. And it actually rebuilds the telomeres. They've tried it on animals. However, as soon as they got some awesome results, the chairman of the company magically died. And they immediately put a gag order on everybody. You couldn't talk about that. And let's see, 3 other directors, as soon as the new CEO came in, was some young guy with a stupid looking beard. I mean, and when I say stupid, I mean, like, he tried to manicure it, but he tried to make it stylish. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? This guy looks dumber than hell. And the folks who were there in the beginning, they're gone. They were kicked out. The reason being, is that it didn't just repair the telomeres, it extended them 200%. In other words, it dropped the life that you've had by about 66%. As in, somebody, if you took this when you were 60 years old, the same drug that they gave to dogs and got unbelievable results, you would go from 60 to 20. Now, there's a problem with that. And unfortunately, they don't see that because they're now doing, you can tell they're doing human testing on celebrities. You see a bunch of de-aging going on all of a sudden because of this drug. Well, you can't de-age beyond or before you stop growing. So if you take it when you're too young, say somebody who's only like 35, 40 takes this, you're going to have some side effects. And I don't think it's going to be pretty. The verdict's not fully in yet, but when they said, you know, how long is science fiction going to be fiction? It, just like in my thumbnail at the beginning of the video, I always have it in the corner. Is it still fiction? It's no longer fiction anymore. And we'll be talking about this a little more. Now, if you want to see the actual video on it, watch Barry Stepp's video number 483. He does a lot of the weird stuff. It's towards the end. It does compilation videos. All right. Let me pull that out of here. Looked into the video game for any type of pop culture, and guys, it's nothing good. Nothing good. The only thing that was kind of funny is when somebody made a gag and they turned the Master Chief into Trump, and a lot of people freaked out. Oh my God, you're going to make a game like that. I can't stand it. Somebody needs to fix this right now. Cry me a river. Oh, I need a drink. And it was still funny just watching people freak out. Let's see. On a little positive note, Disney abandoned Doctor Who, so they're not going to make any more of those and drive that franchise any deeper. Unfortunately, understand this. Though they abandoned it, they did not surrender it. In other words, it is still under their control, which means nobody can resurrect and nobody's going to save that series. I know we got some Doctor Who fans, which is, I'm sorry, guys. It's just, it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And let me remove a couple of these because we're not going to talk about those anymore. And give me a second, and boom. All right. Down to the movies. And I don't know if you guys are any wiser on the movies. Everything is shutting down. It's just crazy across the board. They're saying that it has to do with the writers. They're blaming everything on the writers because the writers are striking because they want more money. Because honestly, I can see why they want more money. They're taking all the heat for a bad script, even though they write something down. And it's very well noted that the producer, the director, and everybody else will say, oh, no, we want to change this and change that. And then it's not the same story anymore. And because it's not a good story anymore, there's no desire to watch it. And it's just crazy. And I'm just like, what in the ever-loving hell? These guys are not allowed to make good content, which is why I'm sure you guys have seen, if you watch Robot Uprising, they use the Unreal game engine to make it. It's actually really good. You can tell it's fake. But you're not going to be able to tell it's fake for too much longer. That's how good this shit's getting. If they pass the Uncanny Valley without freaking people out, that's awesome. However, I look and go, as I see SS Demon come in the chat with a $5 super chat. And he says, just popping in to say hi. I can't stay because of work. Miss everybody. We miss you too. In good news, I love my new job. It's easy, but long hours. Take care, everybody. Hey, you take care too. I know starting a new job can be taxing, to say the least. So, awesome. Thanks for showing up, Demon. I hope everybody sends them some love. Appreciate that. All right, where was I? Okay. Along with the AI, they're not able to cast any good actors. This is going to be more of a thing Right now, there are AI actors, well, actresses at this point. I expect actors fairly soon. And it's, oh boy. Yeah, it's going to make things very, very, very weird. Very, very, very weird. But we'll see how it goes. Unfortunately, they're still forced to do diversity quotas like most of the military. So we'll see how the actual casting goes. I personally believe that the age of the actual movie star is well past gone. And wait a minute, what do I hear? What do I hear? And that's Brian Kemp rolling in with a $5 super chat saying, enjoy the story. So I'm glad you do. And if you guys get any critiques, any advice, anything you want to say, by all means, put it in the comments section so I make sure I get it and I can write it down, because unfortunately, when I close this, the chat box disappears. All right. I'm going to kill somebody. Hold on. Unknown number. I'm not grabbing that fucking phone. I hate these guys. The robocalls always when I'm with you guys. Always. And it's the things behind me. Sometimes I just want to break that fucking phone. So, as that's ringing in my ear, let's blow something else up. All right, since we're back, let's go into the TV. What's coming up on TV and all the streaming, and it all looks like shit. One in particular is Starfleet Academy, and it looks like total shit. I mean, it looks horrible. Even from a non-fan like me, I'm like, they are desperate. They tried to bring back a whole bunch of the old cast from like Voyager and whatnot. They got to understand something. Voyager sucked. It was, when you actually look at it through any type of analytical mind, Voyager was terrible. How did they keep a ship that's in the middle of God's nowhere, cubed, several quadrillion light years from the nearest space dock, looking brand spanking new and running brand spanking new? It's not possible. Ask any Navy guy who's been way out and they've had to be with, all you have is the ship. There's no dry dock anywhere. If you make repairs, they're not pretty. They'll work, but they ain't pretty. That ship should have looked like hell. At one time they did it, and that was it. And then they magically had a time travel, what the fuckery going on. And I'm just like, what are you doing, you jerks? Well, Lena said Voyager was awesome because it had Q in it. QAnon was in it. He was probably the only good part that unfortunately, I got to admit, I did watch it when I was a kid, mainly because Jerry Ryan was in it in that friggin' cat suit of hers. And I swear that woman never wore breeches underneath, because you could actually see, that area down in her downstairs mix up. However, there's nothing that good looking on Starfleet Academy. And I saw a preview. I'm like, these are not cadets walking into an academy. These are high school students who finally got out of mommy and daddy's home. This is how they're acting. And I'm just like, my brain hurts. It's not good. And then they try to have the dean of students or whatever the fuck you want to call her. All of a sudden, she's a hard ass and she's the hard ass of the whole thing. She's going to make it. I'm like, no, absolutely not. Oh, dear God. And it looks like they're just trying to pull in the Gen Z personnel. And I'm like, those folks don't like Trek. They don't. They want something grittier. The modern Trek is just, I'm sorry. I mean, it's so bad that it makes you want to stay away, like Star Trek STD, Star Trek Discovery STD. It's just like, ugh, I don't even want to touch that without gloves because you need protection away from that. That's just something seriously fucking wrong with these people. Ugh. I mean, seriously, if they're away from their families the first time, you're thinking with a little bit of giggity giggity, giggity goo, stick around. And it's just like, what the hell? Oh, jeez. All right. Well, I blew through my notes extremely fast, guys. We haven't even been going for half an hour. I just went through 2 sheets of notes because honestly, there was a lot to talk about. And as I look to see who's here, I look to see who is awesome. And you guys are... You're the best around! So, yeah, I got to cut that really short because I don't want to get dinged on this. I almost got dinged last week. They sent me a notice. Anyways, so far, one small thing before I get in. If you guys did, I know there was 2 of you. You sent me a full bill that it's not 4 weeks. By the way, it's 6. I did the math and I was like, why am I that's wrong. I screwed up on that. You guys should have got more. So this is week 5 for you. So even if there is no super chat from you guys, it's still going to go out with your thanks for the week. You still get your shout outs and everything, and you're going to get one next week. So we're good. But as I look into these assets, no pun intended, I look to see what are we going to do. And looks like somebody shot someone in the butt. Get up, man. Get up. You shouldn't be staying down there. Why is that still on there? Oh, shit. Hold on. There we go. StreamYards, you jerks. All right. So, and that was one of the new videos I got this week. So let me just run up here a little bit, and we're just going to go through a few of the comments and heading down there. Start here with MTF Guard. Says, yeah, no worries. Just making a joke because anytime I hear fairies, I think of the show Fairy Odd Parents and Mr. Cocker losing his shit whenever he hears the mention of them. Okay. Chris saying, when Tinkerbell shows up with her box of toys, pray there's more lube than what's at that Diddy party. Oh, dear God. Wow. You know what? It's a trap. There we go. Okay, I wasn't sure I had a button ready for that, but we had that. Or no, I'll save that button for later. Okay, as Brian's saying, hi. Leonid's saying, sounds like he put all the vegetables into one story in the first chapter. It didn't really make sense. Which vegetables? I'm missing something on that. Maybe I didn't scroll up far enough. Chris here says, hey, he's cooking. I saw the whole thing. You're cooking with maybe some Prozac and pancakes. I don't know. He says, hey, real talk. One of the companies I use to contact with is going heavy on the mRNA stuff. Turns out you can program it to target ethnic groups, races, and individuals. Targeted assassination goal. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Great Scott!
That's honestly horrifying, but I'm not surprised if that would be the case. I am not really surprised at all. I've been around some super rich folks, and they are all just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I swear. And one of the things you got to remember is they are very, 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 very interested in having the entire planet for themselves because they just want more. What's the answer to that? How much more do you want? More. That's all the answer you're going to get. And yeah, it annoyed the hell out of me. It's like, what happens when you have everything and it's just you? Will you be happy? Well, I'm going to want more. Fuck off. Of course, even his date was sitting there giving him the side eye, like, what the? So I'm not going to be good enough? He basically said no right to her face, in more words, of course. Guardian says, what idiot at the BBC let Disney get their grubby mitts on Doctor Who? They sold it for, like, what was it, like $4 billion or some shit? I mean, it was just some crazy, crazy shit going on there. Excuse me. Guard says, damn it, Doctor Who with Disney? It's just like Warner Brothers with RWB. I think that's supposed to be Ruby. Even though one of the original creators of the series is back and has brought back Rooster Teeth. Oh, well, Rooster Teeth has always known what they wanted to do. Most of the time. And I always say that because Red versus Blue, originally it was a joke. It was supposed to be an online thing for free, and it just exploded, which is why they did the whole thing about coming back from the dead and then turned into AI and all that. It didn't really make sense. And it didn't make sense because they had to basically redo the entire thing with the same characters, which I've had to do that, and it's not fun. And if you're trying to run it off something that's already there, no. Lena says, Disney just paid a lot of money for writing Doctor Who the last 2 seasons. Yeah, I heard the last 2 seasons sucked balls, man. Oh, God.
Congratulations. You played yourself.
It was terrible. Eric is saying 3 ways to fix gaming. 1, stop spitting in the face of established lore and characters. Amen. 2, flat rate pay. Are you saying per disc? Yeah, I'll agree with that. Actually, they're one of the things they're trying to raise it from $60 to $80. 3, it works day of launch. Yes, and I am a firm believer that if it's not fully on the disc you buy, then fuck right off. It's just, to me, it's not. If I have to save a whole bunch of space on the hard drive for a game that can be bricked whenever the hell they feel like it, it's not worth it to me. I refuse to pay for those services, period. I actually regret buying my Xbox One. Not just because I have very few games for it, but for the fact that the Halo game I bought it because of the new Halo game, it's so bad. Oh man. It sucked with nothing but teeth and no tongue. That's how bad it sucked. Ugh. Terrible. Let's see. Leon says, I'm happy about Ruby and Viz. We will see how it goes. Now, here's one thing. I do have to cut this off hold off a second. Because apparently there's this game coming out. It's one where you actually, kind of like The Witcher and all them, you get to choose what the character actually says and which love interest and how they do things, called Dispatch. And I was actually sent a little clip, and now I'm not going to play the entire game because I just don't have time, period. However, I will say when the jokes land, they land well. It's still kidsy enough where they're not going to get in trouble, but they definitely curse, and oh man, the jokes are just funny. And I'm not going to ruin anything, but it's anybody who just don't ruin anything, but put in the comments or the chat box here if you played that game, if you think it's worth it. If you played the game so far, I think they're only a few chapters in or something like that. But if it stays good, because I have a feeling that people are going to see fucking dollar signs in their eyes and just start freaking the hell out. So we'll see. There's a whole thing in queue. Guard says, well, the series is being worked on by one of the original creators who personally took a lot of notes for Morty. Problem is that Warner Brothers is not playing nice and they do not want to play. Now, if you're talking Rick and Morty, I wish I could get behind that show. When I first watched it, I loved it. And then I found out one of the producers, and I'm sorry, absolutely not. As soon as they refused to actually fire his ass and call the cops, I can't. As a personal thing, just like Netflix, as soon as they brought out Mignonnes, i.e. cuties, I was like, yeah, I'm done. And just for shits and giggles, I wanted to see how bad they're pushing things one way. They had this one movie on there called Blue is the Warmest Color. It was the only one on there that was of ladies of the liking ladies type of persuasion. They had, I don't even know how many, and nothing but guys. I'm just like, wow, I'm glad I'm getting rid of this shit. This is terrible. They took the only one that was worth watching and they threw it away. Fuck off and die. Terrell is saying 7 of 9, more like 10 out of 10. Yeah, she was. And I'll tell you, when she actually takes the, I don't know what they're going to call it actually, because it's not called telomere. It's just like Viagra. That's just a stage name. I don't know what the actual stage name is going to be for the one that makes them young again. But she goes back to her 25-year-old self. Every guy is going to be sitting there. You're just going to walk up, go close your mouth. Just, Q and 7 to 9 were the best. And where they screwed up in the writing of that show is the engineer she worked with. That should have been her love interest, not the second in command. That made no fucking sense. Even as a kid, I was like, that's dumb. There's no reason she would go for the second in command. They have nothing in common. It doesn't make a lick of sense. But then again, I'm not the one in charge of it, and I'm not the one who's going to watch it crash. And yes, I did get this one on screen just for you guys because I'm sure you were tired of watching the other ones. And oh, by the way, that's a complete AI image. That's not real, not any bit. It's actually labeled in the bottom AI. I know, fooled me for a second when I first saw it. Let's see. Leonid here says they greenlighted Starfleet Academy under the old management. Well, the old management as in 2021 to 2024-ish time frame where everything has got to be awesome. It's just like, stop pushing your politics into our entertainment. It's escapism for a reason, you schmucks. He continues, and they're pretty much pulling that clip from Smiling Friends with it's my IP to sit there and do nothing with. Okay, I think I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, but okay. War Sniper says, Sin, did you manage to get the AA tank video audio up? Let me look. Oh, that one's not on my assets tonight. I didn't actually. The thing is, when I put everything together here in a couple of days, like I said, at the end of the month, it's all gonna probably drop on the 1st of November, and I'll go through every single one and make sure the audio is right. So I couldn't tell you. I don't think I edited that one. But there's also this one. Nothing like a shotgun and CQB to really get things rolling. Anyway, let me go back here. I'm sure this thing jumped again. Yes, it did. Son of a bitch. All right. Leonid says, there's a good chance that 3i Atlas is a comet with an alien technology. NASA still didn't release the pictures. I know, and that's what's pissing everybody off. They're the only ones that have the ability to see this thing for the past week and a half, and they're not showing it, and that's what everyone's pissed off at them about. They're like, you're supposed to let us know, you douchebags. It kind of depresses me, but then again...
When I get sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead. True story.
All right. It's up here. Guardian said, yeah, Star Trek started seriously going downhill with the JJ verse. Yeah. Movies. And STD just had to try and top the lead off, but got the blade stuck halfway through. Yeah. Oh, tried to lop the head off. Yeah. It did a shit job. It was so bad. The kicker is, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to do the same thing that Star Wars is trying to do with the little Yoda guy in the Mandalorian. They're trying to use this strange time travel paradox where the actual bringer back of the essence of everything they had is now basically reincarnated in a different time. However, they're not doing it right. They tried to do a time shift thing for STD, and it just didn't work. I'm sitting there like, what are you doing? Oh, dear God. Okay, I gotta breathe. Okay. I mean, honestly, with all the Trek, what they have to do is say,
Game over, man. It's game over.
and just leave it for a few years and then come back. Reevaluate where everyone is and then come back. They can't just keep pumping out crap. I mean, but what's going to happen? They're just going to just keep doing this because that's all they know. These young kids who are in charge, just out of school, that's all they know is how to pump out garbage. That's all they've been taught. They have no actual life skills at this, and they don't understand creativity. All they know is a spreadsheet. That's all they know. And I've seen this destroy multiple industries, not the least of which was country music. I talked to you guys about that last week when they, Garth and Billy Ray, when I was a kid, came out and suddenly all this money started flooding into the country westerns, and it wasn't country anymore. After that, all they cared about was pumping out more product and trying to become edgy and hip. I'm like, no, that's not what it's about. It never was. And just, I'm sorry, but again, at the end was honky tonk, but donka dunk. Those guys sold out so freaking hard. Holy shit. All right. Erica's over here saying, concerning the first clip, if you're going spelunking that deep, you might want a partner to get an enema first. I got nothing else on that. Okay. Lena says, I wanted Star Trek to continue Kelvin timeline. They were cooking up something good. It annoyed me that they didn't make the new movie. Now, the problem is whenever they find something good, it's happening with all these folks that are just coming out of college, and they're saying, I have a good idea. And because they're in a position of authority, hold on.
You will respect my authority.
And then I'm just like, what the hell? And then they take something good and they twist it to suit themselves, just like the woman who actually drew Velma. She is fat and annoying, and yet the attitude is the same thing she got, and she totally changed the way Velma looked to meet her. I'm like, why are you doing this? You already have a preset character, or follow the lore that works. Like you were saying there, Erica, they all got to follow established lore. If you don't do that, then fuck you. And it's just, as soon as they see dollar signs, they want to say, well, I want it to be my stuff that's popular, which is why a lot of these self-righteous assholes will go into an existing lore, an existing franchise, and twist it all around, which is what happened with Halo. They hired a whole bunch of people who hated the Halo series. So then they wanted to bring in someone else to be the figurehead. They wanted somebody with a certain look. I'm just like, no, motherfucker. People want to play as Chief. Chief or the Arbiter. Even with the Arbiter, it was a little wonky, but still, it worked. You can't bring another person in and try to have them as a main character. You can't have three main characters. You have the main character and a secondary, and you follow them through the story. Jagoffs. Unless you're, third person, not first person. Okay. Where was I? Leonid says, you had a comet crashing on the planet, then everything explodes, then everything has died in your story, then reptilian invasion. It didn't really make sense. Okay, let me explain that. And this is going to be fairly simple. Now, I kind of wish I had a map of the U.S. so I could show this to you. However, if you look at the coast of California, the original projection where 3i Atlas was going to crash into this rock, it's right next to, if not almost on top of, the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is part of the Ring of Fire. So if one of those destabilizes strong enough with a strong enough impact, it's going to have a cascading effect right up through the Cascadia fault line, no pun intended, all the way over towards Russia, down through Japan, and in towards Australia. It is just absolutely crazy. That's secondary effects. Along with that, you're going to shake the crap out of the super volcanoes, in particular, the one that's down in the middle of the Pacific, and also the one over in the Midwest of the United States, the Western United States. Good old Yellowstone. And if that thing blows, you're going to end up wiping out half a continent. What happens if that thing blows, period? And it's just that. You're going to see a huge drop in any type of production of food. You're going to have an entire screw up in the economy of the world, because without us over here, the economy of the world pretty much snaps. It's terrible that everybody has tied themselves into each other so much. I think it's bullshit, but it is what it is. So with those earthquakes, you also have tsunamis. So you're looking at tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, economic collapse. Everything in that area is going to be shut the fuck down because you won't be able to get to it. There's going to be too much crap in the air. You can't get there by boat because all the docks are shot. And all the roads are going to, the ground will go through liquefaction. So you can't drive there. Plus you got all this ash in the air. And well, I mean, I like a good piece of ash, but still you can't drive through that. It's going to gum up your motors. So you got all that going on. Of course, humanity will survive. We survived it before. It's just going to take a minute. By a minute, probably about 3 or 4 years. That's more than enough time for whatever survived inside that rock, which in my story was basically incubation pods, which will, even though the reptilians can reproduce the way they reproduce, they're also being spit out as clones. So they basically are spread out across that with a fabrication system in there to build their weapons. They're how do I put this? They're an extermination squad, basically. Their job is to fuck us over so bad that by the time the actual real enemy gets there, we're too beat down. That's the whole point. And that's why you were saying, comet crash on the planet. Yep, everything explodes because the fault lines. Then everyone died. No, not everybody died. It's just certain areas of the world will get really fucked up. And then the reptilian invasion, which took years. But because of all that, there was technology that had to be released. And that's one of the key things that had to be released. And I do have to pause on this because, again, sorry, guys, hold on. I need a drink. I have to downshift here. One of the weird things in my writings that I've noticed in the past 30 years is the fact that for some reason, when I write, I see the future, and I don't know why that is. It is creepy. You're probably looking at whatever device you're watching on and go, are you fucking serious? I am serious as a fucking stroke. Okay. It's weird. It's messed up. Just like I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. You're like, I saw this in my dream. And then 2 weeks later, it happened. Absolutely perfect. I saw this happening. I had no context, but I saw this happening. Or I saw flashes of something happening. People can do this. For me, it just comes out when I write. That's it. And one of the things that I write about, you guys have heard me do it, is the fact that technology will allow humans to live more or less indefinitely, barring a violent end, what do they call it? A sudden act of violence, I believe is the title for it. And that's a key part of that story is everybody extends their life. And because everybody extends their life and because the planet is so messed up, they decide, you know what, fuck this. I'm going to stretch out. I'm going to go out among there. However, like I said, it's something that freaks me out a lot too, by the way. I've been writing about this for years, that there will be technology that makes us live for years, hundreds of years. And now, like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, telomere pharmaceutical, you can go ahead and look it up. TELOMIR. I'm going to say it again. TELOMIR. Pharmaceutical. It's right there. And that's what they're working on. I have it written down right in front of me. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of spooky. I mean, right in time for Halloween to let you guys know this. And just like the whole molecular assembler thing, I knew there was that sort of technology a long time ago. I remember thinking about it. Honestly, I'd be hesitant to eat anything that comes out of there because I'd be like that guy on the old Star Trek where he's like, I need whiskey. It's like, terrible. It has no bite. It's not going to be the real thing. Logically thinking, yes, everybody's going to want the real thing. However, just like a lot of folks nowadays live off McDonald's and Chick-fil-A, there's still going to be a market for the other stuff. So anyways, yeah, I hope that clears things up, Leonid. And all that was the one of the characters there just remembering the past. So also keep in mind that when you remember the past, all your memories come back at once. There's no fully understanding of the time on that because you're not currently living through it. So anyway, sorry about the side rant, guys. I just had to get that out because there was confusion. I do apologize for that. I will be more careful. But it was mostly just supposed to be exposition. Okay, here we go. As Douglas here, I sent you a couple pictures you can use, Sin. Shows my grandson at 1 month. I will, I'm sure you sent him via email. Pics in email. All right, I'll make sure I get those going. Let's see, Terrell, sorry, as I'm assuming it's Terrell. Fix me if I'm wrong. He says, Fringe did the DNA targeted killing decades ago. Fringe, that was a show, I think, wasn't it? Now, the thing is, that's been done in a lot of different science fictions, to include the Star Wars Extended Universe. They actually engineered a plague that was specific for Clone Warriors. Guardian says, have you listened to Banned from Argo? Yes, I did. I had a hard time. Actually, it was almost impossible for me to understand what the hell they were saying. Wasn't really my type of music, so my ears were not trained for it. So I was completely and totally lost. However, I did watch 3 kobolds in a trench coat, one on the bottom, strong as he, second one holding up 3. Yep, I listened to the whole thing. It was kind of funny. It was real goofy. I appreciate that. Of course, I'm also one of the guys who listens to the Youpers and how they got the 30-point buck. So it is what it is. Okay. Lena comes back with, for me, the Conversion Bureau was worth reading. It was the only example with the fan fiction that was about the unstoppable invasion to the human planet. As much as evil as it was good. Yeah. I've actually, back in the day, the Sci-Fi Channel had a lot of movies where humans lost. And they lost big. But yeah. War Sniper with I would smash that butt AI woman.
Swing.
I'm sure you would. Or maybe this one. I tried to get the Bow Chicka Bow Wow from Red versus Blue. Didn't come up. And it wouldn't download. I don't know why. All right. Guard says, sorry, it's not supposed to say Morty. It's supposed to say Monty, but my autocorrect is retarded. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, bite me with where's a good one? Oh, dang it. I got the wrong page up. How about this one?
Greetings, programs. Oh,
wait. Better off with this one.
Greetings, programs.
I didn't get a certain person who likes to go.
Greetings, mortals and other assorted beings.
Or maybe I missed it. Let's see. Lena says, I think everyone likes Sisters of Battle in 40K. Yes. They think people don't like playing as a woman in a Warhammer game. That's I don't know who thought that, but they got a head up their fucking ass, man. Oh man, I'm actually so mad. It makes me want to shoot something. Yeah, even when fighting robots, you aim for the squishy bits, right? All right, let me get back over here to the comment section, which I swear is deliberately trying to piss me off. Okay, I think I was around here. Chris says, we did activate the planetary defense system that we said we didn't have just in case 3I is hostile, which is bigger than we first thought. And then there was Son R2. Why does that sound familiar? Still there, just meeting up with 3I.
What? What the fuck?
Something actually caught my attention. And Joseph Blosh is here. Hey, how you doing? And he sends a $5 super chat. And he says, send more paramedics. 80s music playing. As the problem is I can't play a lot of music. I get copyrights. Even if I tried to do this, that's about as far as I could go and not get tagged. I think it's like 4 seconds, maybe 5. Any longer than that and you're screwed. But thank you very much, Joseph. Appreciate it. And let's go back up here. Where the hell was I? Okay, sorry guys, I kind of got thrown around here. Leonid say, I think the new Velma just gave us a lot of creepypasta. Well, it was creepy, all right. She was the one who was creepy. It also gave a lot of the Rule 34 folks some material to work with. That's about it. I always say that because I just I used to do the commission work, and you'd be amazed how many guys would be like, hey, can you put something with this character? And I'm like, yeah, but you can't ever post it. Why not? It's copyrighted material, you schmuck. And you can look at it and enjoy it all for free, but you can't ever touch it. Not for money. Boy, that sounded so wrong, didn't it? Guard says, I don't understand why people constantly have to shove in the whole female space brains BS when we have Sisters of Silence and Sisters of Battle, not to mention whole regiment of female guardsmen. Yeah, I don't know what the hell their problem is on that. It's like they have to insert themselves in everything. I'm like, that's a guy's job to insert themselves into everything. Duh. He continues with, well, I guess it's because Space Marines are the poster boys of it. And since they're a solitary male faction, it's just driving them off the walls like the thing from John Carpenter's A Thing. Screeching and thrashing around and everything. I believe that. Yeah, I believe that too. Now, one of the weird things is they actually, in one or two of the cinematics, they did these Sisters of Battle in particular, they did it right. Where she was still an ass-kicking woman, but she was still a woman. And that's the key thing. That's where they forget. They neglect that part of the individual character. I mean, they did a whole, I don't know which one of the 40K one it was, where she was, one of these Sisters of Battle was the last survivor of not just her platoon, but like her entire battalion. And she was like so screwed up in the head that she's seeing somebody who's already dead. And it's just like, it messed her up real bad. That humanized her a lot, even though she was like all about, taking out the, what do you call them again?
Heresy. Remove this filth.
And, she was ready to just end them. Regardless, yeah, it works. That was well done. But a lot of the stuff they're doing to 40K, I feel bad for you guys who enjoy it. I'm not much of a 40K guy myself. I'm a Battletech guy. Warsname says, so Sin, when can we expect the AA tank video to be shown on the stream? Is the first battle of the AA tank. I'll put it here to be set up for next week. I just got to go through the audio and readjust it. Chris says, when I play Halo, I don't want to play MC. I want to play as Steve from accounting. Now, one of the kickers is they were supposed to make the Halo game. Now, if you haven't read the books, this is going to seem kind of weird. Now, if you remember, when you're going through the library with Guilty Spark, you stumble across a dead Marine. And that's the only time you get your hands on some really good human weapons, i.e. the shotgun and a shit ton of shotgun rounds, grenades, rocket launch, all this fun stuff. In the book, the chief was not the first one 343 actually got. He was actually the second choice. The first one was that Marine who got all that way. He was almost to the end and he got overwhelmed. And in the book, as the chief is taking him, actually shoving the body into a corner, trying to keep him away from the flood as a sign of respect, he actually put a grenade in there with the pin pulled in case they did pull him out. It would at least blow the flood up. He said out loud, "You would have made a great Spartan," which is the highest compliment one of them can give anybody. And they were supposed to do a game on that character. And yeah, it was supposed to be at the ending cinematic after you got overrun. Later on, the chief actually finds you, rearms, and does all that. And that was supposed to be one of the hard-hitting ones. And I think that would have been freaking great, even though a lot of people would have been depressed. And aren't you supposed to be the one who survives? Not always. Excuse me. Okay, Guard says, so the Chainsaw Man movie is storming the internet in good and bad ways. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I hear a lot of people enjoy Chainsaw Man. I just don't have time to watch that stuff, guys. It's bad enough, and I do have to apologize. I do not have a video dropping at midnight tonight. I have not had the time today. I was helping my dad all day, and I had about maybe 2 hours to get all this ready. So I got it all ready, and I double and triple checked to make sure everything was working. I had some problems on the soundboard, at least one of them. So thankfully that got taken care of, but I just didn't have time. I do apologize for that. I will make the next chapter as fast as I can. My morning tomorrow is pretty much shot in the ass already. No pun intended, considering what you see. I'll get it out, guys. I excuse me while I whip this out. Whoosh, yeah. Extra points if you know what movie that's from. Lena says, it was supposed to be an Apophis, asteroid that was crashing into California. I've heard that there's going to be another rock that is going to crash on the moon. Yeah, I heard about that. And everyone's wondering if it's going to knock the moon out of its orbit. I'm like, do you have any idea how hard it's got to hit to do that? Especially since it doesn't have a huge gravity well to friggin' yoink that thing down to the bottom. I mean, it's bad enough it's just flying through space on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's you who's crashing into the moon. And if it doesn't get an absolute perfect direct hit, it might just glance. Excuse me. Lena says, hold on. Did I miss something? I guess not. Oh, he's talking Chainsaw Man here. He says, good ways because the movie is absolutely amazing. And they really nailed the animation and kept it mostly true to the story while removing a couple of the boring and questionable parts. But it's also going bad because, like any good community, there's always the low lives that complain about everything and send death threats to the creators because something didn't go their way. It's gotten so bad, a lot of Discord servers have just gone on complete lockdown because people are flooding them and either raiding the server for not agreeing with them or straight up doxing mods. I straight up watched that happen in one of the Discords I was in. One of the mods was telling him to calm down, and then 5 minutes later, the dude posted the mod's home address with first and last name. Fucking unhinged psychopaths. Oi.
God f***ing damn it!
One of the biggest reasons why the Arbiter looked so well is because he was actually a well-written character with story and wasn't just your simple copy-paste player 2 character. Yes, absolutely. They kept him and his storyline with the fucking lore, and that's why it worked. I still remember when the first time you get to play him, I'm like, am I playing the Arbiter now? What the hell? But it worked. It put more depth into the lore, and it was supposed to. Continuing, not to mention, compared to Halo 5 and Halo 2, Halo 5, about 70% of the game, you are Spartan Loch, and the other 30% you're Chief. I started, yeah. What's the point of buying a Halo game with Master Chief in it if you're only going to play him for like 4 missions? I believe it was 3. Oh yeah, I'm about halfway through the manga right now. Freaking hilarious how she literally asked permission before. Okay, I think you're talking about something else here. You're talking about Leonid's here. Leonid with, I started watching an anime about a countess who just started punching corrupt noblemen in the face with her fist. I saw like a 2-minute bit of that. It looks really good. I'm like, damn it, why don't I ever have time to watch these? She has time powers, and her nickname is a bloodstained lady. I thought it was like Fist Bitch or something. All right. I need to let my jaw have a small break. So let me go into here. And was it this one? No. Okay. This is the one I altered. You guys got to let me know if the sound is right and the sound effect came through. Okay. I think we lost a few people watching, but you guys got to let me know, because if you don't, I got to write it down. I got to redo it. So, and it's only about 30 seconds. So here we go.
Oh yeah!
One op 4 remaining. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
So did you get the add-on? As soon as I saw him bust through the wall, I said, you know what? I got to put the sound effect in. I just got to do it. I got to do it. And you guys got to let me know if that landed or not. And by the way, the reason I haven't been doing sound effects on the videos, guys, is real simple. I don't have time. I've been running short, and hopefully the video isn't fully suffering because of it. Or videos. Guard still talking about the punch lady. One punch lady, apparently. Yeah, I'm about halfway through the manga right now. Freaking hilarious how she literally asked permission before slugging one of the guys. And says, like in the manga, she literally says, "Can I break your front teeth?" And he says, "What?" And she says, "No." And she says, "Okay." And still punches him and breaks his front teeth. Oh, shit. I'm sure she's sitting there yelling,
You will respect my authority!
before, you know, punching some guy really freaking hard. Let's see. Like in the okay, I just read that. Okay, Erica's in here, and she says, "Before 3i Atlas got to Mars, I had a dream." Okay, this ought to be interesting. "As it passed Earth, it released pods filled with black goo. If you got touched by the black goo, you and animals would become larger and more massive, but very, very ugly and violent. Then the moon released this white goo stuff. It reversed the black goo, or it unlocked DNA sequences that were forced to be dormant and made things very beautiful." Okay, you heard her, guys. Don't touch the black goo. Now, here's the really interesting part about that, Erica. I'm glad you actually brought this up. I am so glad you did, because for the past about year, maybe a little more, in a lot of these fashion magazines and stuff like that, they have been obsessed with black goo. And I don't mean that as a race thing. I mean, literally, like, it looks like tar. A lot of these singers and stuff like that, they're like smearing themselves with it for photo ops. They show that it's like coming out of their eyes and stuff like that. So they're obsessed with this. And a lot of times these super rich will have to tell you what they're about to do. So I only bring that up because it might be that they're using the 3i Atlas as a cover to release the black goo. I know I'm speculating at this point. But regardless, we will find out. All right. It's a good one, Erica. That was a very good one to bring up. You actually have my brain working overtime on that one. Okay, Guard says, so in short, if 3i Atlas kids were scientists, they're saying it's going to hit a whole lot of the countries are going to get messed up and a whole lot of people are going to die. Someone's going to die. Well, that's just the way it kind of is. Like I said, the way I see it is something's going to happen that's going to force them to have to bring out technologies that they've been hiding. And a lot of people have been giving me shit in the comments section saying, I don't believe in hidden technology. And the evidence is there. We have stuff like the World's Fair. There was technology that was easily 30 years ahead. Well, okay, maybe not 30, at least 10 years ahead of what the standard technology was at the time. And then suddenly these supposed buildings that were supposedly just made of stucco and wood, even though they're completely ornate and you can see on the inside, they're absolutely beautiful, and all these marble statues and everything like that. And I'm just like, you don't just burn this shit down. You actually have to destroy it down to nothing. Something happened at the end of the World's Fair. I don't know what. Maybe it was one of the resets. Whatever it wasn't good. But yeah, there was hidden technology. And it's, again, we got not only picture, we got video as shit. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Anyway, off my side, rant looking here. Leonid, in the very first episode after getting a divorce, she, and I'm guessing Punch Lady, punched everyone, including the new bride of the prince, who is supposed to be an evil isekai protagonist. And That's actually the like 2-minute bit I saw where he's like, I dissolve everything, and she's like, okay, you don't mind if I punch this bitch in the face, do you? What? Wham! I'm like, it's about to be a girl fight. Okay, Guardian says, I believe Scotty said, what the hell is this? When he was giving a glass of scotch synthahol. Oh yeah, yep, the old Star Trek The Next Generation, because he wasn't on Voyager. I think the actor passed away by then. But he's like, Scotty, Sonny, I've been drinking scotch since long before you were even born. And I can tell you, whatever this is not scotch. You're right. That's one of the more classic scenes of that. There's 4 or 5 classic ones. I will admit, there are, even though I'm not a huge Trek fan, there are certain scenes that deserve to remain, even if the rest of the show is completely tossed away. And as much as I hate Deep Space Nine for ripping off Babylon 5, the certain scenes in particular, go ahead and watch Quark solves the war with economy. And it's just, he does such a good job. The actor does such an amazing job at that. You can't help but like the scene. It's written well. It's acted well. The direction is great. It couldn't get better. But it's most of these scenes that are classic are almost never the captain's, because every single one of them has to do this dramatic reading of, I'm just like, shut up. It doesn't work. Let's see. Guards here saying, we continue with, that's even funnier that he's supposed to be an isekai protagonist, yet got his ass whooped by what would be called a side character. Okay, man, think I'm reading something wrong here, but okay. Continues, even he was an annoying piece of shit. Anyways, that explained later on, though the manga abused her a lot, but due to what the hell? Oh, sorry guys. I thought I was getting reverb in the ears. Something was off. Anyway, regulations and code, she never fought back. Okay. Until she got divorced, then the hands became rated E for everybody, including him. There's the rest of the thing with Erica. Now, the thing is, yeah, I don't know. Is this something weird about the moon, Erica? I don't know what's going on with that. All I know is when they dropped a satellite on it, the damn thing rung like a bell. You only do that if you actually have hollow pieces in the middle. So I don't know what's going on with the moon. I just hope the CGI little show they got there when the moon attacks doesn't become a thing. That's horrific. Lenin says, I knew she was an AI woman because AI women has a skin gloss. Not all of them. Not all of them. Let's see. Do I have any? Hold on. You know what? I'm going to search these really quick, and I'm going to pull up one that's CGI and doesn't have a skin gloss. Okay. Yeah. Give it a second to load, and I'll bring that one up. But not all of them do. It used to be, you could tell by the gloss of the skin, the hair wasn't done right. Something was particularly off. Here's one. I can only show it for a little bit, but no pun intended. That's CGI. There's no gloss there. That actually has a skin tone to it. So it really depends on who makes it. Just like that one there, that's a CGI, even though it was set up to be a drawing. You can tell the difference on it. Or, you know what? Let me take this one off. And let me see if I can't pull up one that just makes your point for you. Where is it? Okay, perfect. That's this one. All right. This is what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, that's a glossy butt. That's seriously too much. And you're right. You can tell that's CGI AI right off the bat. You're right on that one. It's just they're getting better. Is my point. Is they are getting much better. It's getting harder to tell. Leon says, "Well, the humans would have lost during the invasion if the good aliens didn't help them." Which invade? I don't. I must be missing a piece of what you put in before. Okay. Leonid, again, he says, Scooby-Doo is an eldritch god that resurrects an entire world. Each new world is a remake of the show, but their version got corrupted. That's why we got Velma. Well, maybe he should have eased off the Scooby snacks and then we would got the right Velma. Oh, yeah, Brian, he figured out where that was. Excuse me while I whip this. That is from Blazing Saddles, something that Mel Brooks said he couldn't make today if he wanted to. Just wasn't going to happen. And it is still a absolute classic. Absolute classic. And now I kind of, maybe I should put a button on here with some Dark Helmet or something like that on here. Unfortunately, I don't have one that's, no, just plain yogurt. Now, again, you guys got to let me know if you're going to have a button on here for when you start this. I only got 3. I got War Sniper, I got Brian, and I got Guard. I got a 4th one on here specifically, but he's not here. And this one's for Sir.
General quarters. All hands man your battle stations. Set material conditions Zebra throughout the ship. Make Zebra report to DC Central.
And I actually have to manually do that one. But yeah, you guys got it. Like, I mean, let's see. Erica, you sent me something, so I need a button for you. Demon, I need something. Well, he's not here, so you guys let him know if you hear from him. And Joseph, you sent me something. If you want a sound effect, you're gonna have to let me know. And hopefully Sir is doing okay. We haven't talked to him in a while. Anyway, Joseph's up here. Speaking of which, he says hot dog water is proof of that corruption in the Scoobyverse. Okay. I don't watch any of the Scooby-Doos. I used to figure out the Scooby-Doo mysteries as a kid so easily that my sisters got pissed. They're like, stop ruining it. You don't tell me who it is. I was like, I know who it is every time. Not hard. Erica says the anime is called May I Request One Final Thing. I'm guessing that's El Punchy Girl. I can't make a good jab sitting down. I never could. Oh, shit. See, Lena says, there's a new Yuri Monster anime. I think I want to see it. Yuri Monster. That sounds weird. Oh, yeah, Guardian, you like yours, huh?
Heresy! Remove this filth!
Okay, good. Because I couldn't get a 40K. The only time I got Heresy, it had actually a fart at the end. I don't know who added it, but I couldn't take it off because it was right at the end of when he said heresy. I downloaded it. I tried to do it, and it was Harris. I'm like, nobody here is named Harris. So, yeah. See, Leon says, One Punch Lady can accelerate and slow down time. It's like watching JoJo Bizarre Adventure. I never did watch that anime. I hear a lot of people love it. See, guards say, God, my autocorrect is straight up retarded. Anytime I put down the word Marine, it wants to replace it with the word Brian or Brian or whatever the hell random word it comes up with. Or, I even missaid that. What was it? The Life of Brian is at the Rome's. What's your name? Brian's Brian. We also have an actual Brian here, so I don't want to use that too much, unless he finds it funny. And Joseph saying he's got a Family Guy bias. Well, the problem with Family Guy, at least for me, is it used to be really funny. It used to be edgy, but the thing is, it pushed the envelope so far that it's not edgy anymore. It went from edgy to sad. It just kind of depressing now, at least for me. All right, changing the subject back to 3i Atlas. Douglas says 3i Atlas has supposedly been outgassing a metal that is not natural in nature, i.e., pure nickel. It's also supposedly maneuvering. Yeah, I saw that whole thing about being full of nickel and almost no iron, if there's any iron at all. Now, the way I am to understand this is when they're looking, they see gas being pushed off. They actually take a photo of that and run that through basically a spectrometer, and they see what type of light they get. They put that through a prism, and based off what colors of the rainbow show up, they can tell what type of metal is there, what type of materials. Supposedly, I don't know how good this stuff works, guys. It's weird. Anyway, supposedly, nickel, which is always used on spacecraft because it suits it, and iron or steel sucks for spacecraft, apparently. They can't use almost any of it. Just because there's so much nickel in 3i Atlas, they're saying something's off. Something's been manufactured, and they don't know what it is. Guard says, I'm trying to remember what the name of that is, but it's like the whole miniseries where it focuses on her and a salamander space marine called Sakan, I'll pronounce that right, for about 3 episodes. Then after saving him from a Necron destroyer, she sadly dies via Necron assassin laser, punching a hole right through her back. Ouch. Can't remember their name of the Necron unit, though. Yeah, that was, see, I like watching, when I can, the actual, cinematics that are on there. And a lot of times you can actually, just from the cinematics, to me, it's like watching an actual movie. Sorry, guys, a little thirsty. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember what her name was, and that was a good one. The whole thing with what was his name? Let me scroll up. His name was Sakan. And when he talked to the kids, he's like, yeah, one of my 2 hearts has been destroyed. They're like, you have 2 hearts? And they were like, just like little kids acting like, you have 2 hearts? It's cool. It's like, I'm like, yeah, this is how little kids act. Oh my God, you guys got it right. That made the scene. Let's see. Lena says, well, do you want aliens just land on Earth and then give you advanced technology? I've heard it's going to take 50 years. Take 50 years to what? Understand the technology? Oddly enough, once you understand the baseline, technology is easy. It's actually amazingly easy. Once you understand how a 4-stroke engine works, you can work on almost any of them because the parts are pretty basic. It's just knowing how to put them together in the right order. Let's see. Erica says, it looked just like tar or pitch in my dreams. Tend to be more metaphor than literal. When I first heard about 3i Atlas, I got the impression of a false third eye awakening. False third eye? That's it. That's interesting. So basically you'd have an extra pineal gland. I don't know how that works. Just got to be careful if it gives you an extra. God damn it! I had it on the tip of my tongue, and it fell out of my head. Pituitary gland. You don't want an extra one of those or overactive one. That could be bad. That could be just as bad as, remember I was telling you about the medications, and they brought you too young, further younger than when you were done growing or done developing. Then you have issues. That's the type of issues. Your bones will deform a little bit, and your body's trying to grow bigger than it's supposed to be. And before you guys say anything, no, I do not know how much that ends up on your penis. All right, Guard says, I remember correctly. I think the Marine's name is Chip. Something Chip DeBow. I honestly can't remember his exact name, but I know the first part of his name is Chip. I mean, hey, Call of Duty proved that with some of the games, your character doesn't survive at all. Yep. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and Ghost come to mind. In Infinite, your character straight up dies in a vacuum of space because his helmet gets shattered by a piece of debris from one of the ships fighting. Yeah. And one of the Halo games too. I think it was, oh yeah, that's right. It was that god-awful one called Reach. I only say god-awful because remember when we said it's got to follow the lore? That has fuck all to do with Halo lore. It was terrible. Okay, and especially at the end. And not only was it bad all the way through, but when they showed Cortana and that guy got handed Cortana's initial form or container, she has chosen you. Bullshit. From the outset, Cortana chose John. It's in the books. It is one of the major factors there. It just it just gets under my fucking fingernails when they do this. Let's see. Where was I? Leaning here saying a lot of games that focus on drones are defensive missions where you need to defend a target from an army. I've heard that there was a guy on the oh shit. Okay, yeah, he's got two separate comments here. They're on two different things. Yeah, well, the thing is, drones, once they're autonomous and they can get through the jammers, you're not in control. You are just defending from them. That's one of the things with the drone swarm is they're just horrific, and rightfully so. So we'll see how it goes with that. Now, the thing is, something I had mentioned a long time ago to somebody, he was actually a Navy guy saying, oh, we don't ever have to worry about drones. We're way the hell out there. They can't even touch us. We got all this and that and the other thing. I said, okay, picture, if you will, you're in between Taiwan and Japan. You're not actually close enough to China where they can actually get fighters close enough. And even if they launched all their fighters, you could probably fight them face to face. However, what if they send all their drones that literally will lock onto anything metal and will zoink right into you or into whatever ship they come across? And that's the only sensor is going out, trying to find anything metal to lock onto, and then boom. And once it sees that something has gone kablooey, it focuses on something else metal. And it's going to go right towards your ships. Do you really think you can handle 3,000 or 4,000 of the fucking things? And as soon as I said 1,000, he's like, well, I don't know if we could handle that many, but we could handle. I'm like, I know you could handle probably 100 to 150. That's about the max. Reason being is you only have too many SM2s, 4s, and 6s to defend. Those are defense missiles right there. That's what their primary job. Can they be used for offense? Yes, but their primary mission is defense. Once you run out of those, you're limited to your 5-inch gun and your CWIS. Once those things are drained, you are a target. And you're going to run out of ammo. Pure and simple. And he's like, well, yeah, it's like, you're not that safe. And you're right. In drone warfare, you would be mostly defending, not attacking. Okay. He had a different comment here. It says, I've heard that there was a guy on the internet that says that the lie about the aliens is coming. And then he says, do you want me to tell you? And then he says, the date is 2027. You'd be amazed how many people have actually claimed it. I heard anything from 2025. I've heard 2026, 27, 2036. You only have to be right once in this case. He continues, I really I don't really like the guy. I think he's a government plant. It's very difficult to tell if one is or isn't nowadays. Honestly, whenever they say, well, I got information, but I'm not sure I could put it out, I'm going to give you a little bit. No, just give us the fucking information. Oh, but I have a gag order. I don't care. If you're going to violate it, just violate it now. Get it over with. Okay. Bryce, I'm okay with you using the name Wyan. Sure. Okay. Let's see. War Sniper here. So almost done with my World of Warships missions and need 7 warships spotted and a little bit of base XP, and then finally done. Okay. And maybe send us a few more videos there. Hint, hint, wait, nudge, nudge. Because I only got a few of them here. And honestly, if I go into my media assets, I only got 1, 2, 3, 4 this week. And then I have a few others where you get to, well, shoot things.
We have taken objective apples.
All right, we're back. And Lena's up here saying, I would recommend video about girls and Panzer called History in Girls and Panzer. The enemy has a lot of history. That is actually true. That is actually very, very true. And that's one of the things I was hoping when I said they should bring in a crew of mechanics that are guys that the girls kind of fawn over a little bit. And they could, as the guys are working on the tanks, they could go and do shit like that, which I think would actually be really cool. Just like they had the one, I think it's called How Heavy Are the Barbells You Lift? It's about these girls who join a gym. And they do a lot of actual no shit fitness stuff in there. And I was like, you know what? Thank you. I never get a chance to watch the whole thing, but the little clips that I saw, I'm like, finally, they got it right. Lena says, I remember them saying a joke about Hotline to Hell. I'm in no rush. Let's see. Terrell says, all third eyes are false. Eric, is it a metaphorical third eye, not the pineal gland itself? Okay. The third eye is, how do I put this? Not that you're going to be a triclops, and yes, that is the right phrase for that. The actual third eye is in perception. Now, all you have to do is look at it this way. We perceive everything around us in 3 dimensions. We cannot see things in 3 dimensions. I'm looking at a camera right now. I cannot see the back of it. However, if I had the third eye of perception, I could, in fact, see behind it. I could see everything, all the dead space behind it. And yeah, that's just kind of how it goes.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
That is a $10 super chat from the Guardian Sage.
Heresy! Remove this filth!
He says, go big or go home, and fear of icebergs are 2 very neat achievements in Sins of a Solar Empire. Which would you prefer to build your fleet doctrine on? I have no idea. Probably go big or go home. I don't know because I have no idea what fear of icebergs means. I'm sure it has a specific meaning. But me personally, I always build my fleets. If I do build, like I did play EVE Online a long time ago, I never, ever, ever sent a battleship out without at least 2 others flanking it. And I would always get them in that trifecta. So if one of them did fall as they're running, as they're friggin' regressing in the other direction, you might lose another, but you're not losing all 3. And you are going to put so much heat and so much pain down on whoever you're attacking that they're going to have a long time to rebuild. And by then, you've built up your other groups. By the time that one comes back, your other fleet's already heading out. That's the way I did it. So, yeah. But anyway, Terrell, that's what I think everyone's talking about with the third eye. Eric's saying, sorry, I'm late. And hold on, let me find it.
Good evening, sinners.
Although that's a lot better than saying,
What?
my niece loves that button. She'll actually play with that all day. Just to, she wants to hear the Minions type voice. All right, let's see. Terrell says, reach sized, reach stunk. Yeah, Reach was just a bad game all around. I know what they were trying to do, and they failed. They failed miserably. They need to do the same thing we tell the people that working on Star Wars. You have the lore. It's written down in books. All you have to do is follow it. But they don't, because they're stupid. And I'm just going to do it my way, because my way's better. Don't you? Do you play the game? No, but my way is definitely better. Oy. Leonid says, any good drone has a 25mm gun on it, Hydra 70, also known as the spicy toothpicks, and another deadly laser-guided missile. Believe it or not, that's how I run most of my sci-fi drones, is they don't look like aircraft anymore. Back in the day, sci-fi drones were literally a bunch of stabilizers sticking out the outside, one main engine, and it just had one usually energy-based cannon out the front. That's not the way to do it. An actual drone would be able to defend itself in all different directions and be omnidirectional, not have to turn like a fighter with a thruster up its ass. So, yeah, especially if you're doing anything in space, you're going to have multiple weapons in multiple areas to protect it as it gets to its objective, just to blow something up. Now, if you're talking about in-atmosphere ones, a drone that big would be easily the size of a Sky Warden. Easily. Probably bigger. Those 25mm cannons, those are actually in the Bradley fighting vehicle. I've worked with them myself. They are huge. For us to even take one out of the turret, so it took, I think, 5 of us. And we were straining. Mainly because it's really awkward to do that. But still, it's heavy. Hydra 70 always go in a rocket pod. So if you're only running, I think it's 7 in the pot, that's doable. That's easily doable. And if you're only carrying one other guided missile like a Hellfire, that's again doable. The gun is what's heavy. Guards up here saying, all right, just finished up a match of Halo Wars 2. Oh, I'm sorry. That was possibly the biggest bottle of bullshit I've ever dealt with. Like every time I got ready to attack, all 3 of my enemy attacked at once. If you're playing bots, they usually do that. It's written in the code. They won't allow you to build up, which is the reason why in those games in particular, what you do, you have your base, and when you build, you actually have a rally point separate. So when the enemy comes, they're going to come at your base, and then you attack them from the side. And by the time they actually turn to shoot at you, you've already taken out a bunch. You might lose your base that way, depending on how hard they hit you. However, me personally, I was unless I was trying to be snarky with it, I had 3 different ways of doing it. Either I had the really heavy air unit as, as humans. I had a shit ton of the small, like I think they call them Hornets, or I would get the Gauss rifle Warthogs, and I would hit them with so many at once that they wouldn't be able to do anything. I've only played Halo Wars. Yeah, I used to play Halo Wars 1 a lot against real people. We still had LAN parties at that point. I played Halo Wars 2 maybe 3 times against somebody. And I did that to one, I kid you not. He ran over to my room and goes, I'm going to kick your ass. Next thing you know, we're on the ground. We're actually laughing because we're drunk off our ass. Neither of us could hit anything hard enough to do any damage. But he was pissed because he had a, the hell's that big crab excavator thing that the Covenant has? Whatever the hell it is. He had, I think he had 2 of those. And I killed one in like 5 seconds. Because I literally ran everybody right past him and then just firing like crazy. Chat, 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 chat. And before he could even turn and fire down, as I've already knocked the shields down and taken his health out. He's all like, oh, fuck me. I can hear him yelling from across the hall. Anyway, sorry, side rant. Shouldn't have gone there. Let's see. Lenin says, hotline to hell. American president says in an interview, our country has everything. Reporter then asked, does it include a hotline to hell? Pretty much. I mean, our current president even said that, and this goes in with the hidden technology. He said he's seen what our actual technology level is, and it would scare everybody. And I believe that because I was talking with some guys who were in the tech industry, and this was years ago. And he was joking, or I should say the one who was talking the most was joking, saying, you see all that stuff they have in the Jetsons? I go, yeah. We had that figured out in the late 70s, early 80s. We just had to figure out how to make it smaller. I'm like, what? Or better yet,
What?
and it was just, yeah, I know they have it. It just, if they released all this technology, if you have free energy and free transportation and a whole bunch of other stuff that's free as long as you don't break it, how are they going to make money on it? But you know what I say? Fuck them in the ass with a big rubber dick. Okay, Guardian here says, go big or go home is build only capital ships, while Fear the Icebergs is the exact opposite, where you don't build any capital ships. See, that I disagree with that in particular because, again, when I played EVE Online, I lost when I had my actual battleships going out in the trifecta. And yeah, I got ambushed. I wasn't just fighting one enemy. It was more than one, and they just swarmed us with all little ones. And then whenever I went with little ones, you know, I run into a couple battleships in a one-on-one battle. Usually I lost. And yeah, it is what it is, you know. So I always set them out in groups, usually with at least a half a dozen fighters, preferably a half a dozen fighters per battleship. Just tag them, lock them on, and then you can just move the battleships. That worked really well. It actually worked surprisingly well. I'll see. Lena says, I remember that based on the creator lore of Spy Family, I have never watched an entire episode of that, but the little bits I've seen look funny. Anya and Yor are kind of used to just be a single person from the older manga and with older Anya. Okay, I don't know if this is supposed to be the woman and the kid, or if the Yor is the guy. All I know in the manga, they're supposed to be bumping uglies by like the second date. So, I mean, it is what it is. The only long scene. I actually saw the whole thing. Is the one where she went to do an assassin job and she got cocky, and even though she was wearing bulletproof armor, she took one in the ass, and yeah, she couldn't sit down. It kind of ruined their date. It's it is what it is. Lena says, yeah, the missile is Hellfire. Yep, okay. But the drone is like, has an option also equipped with a cluster bomb. Okay, that's heavy. That's unbelievably heavy. I haven't loaded those. I know people who have, and they say it takes like 6-7 people to load one. Those things are large. A cluster munition? You got to remember, each one of the actual clusters is about a little bit bigger than a beer can. Well, depending on which ordnance you're using, it's anywhere from a little bit bigger than a beer can to about as big as a football. And there's hundreds of these things inside. So you have to encase all of them. That sucker is big and it's really, really heavy. So I don't know how you're going to work a drone on that unless it's a tiny, tiny little cluster munition. So you'd have to show me the specs on that. Eric says the crab thing is a scarab. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yep. I totally, it's been so long since I played, I had forgotten. But yes, scarab. And I will say the one time scarabs truly got me and I couldn't say anything about it. We were playing, I don't remember if it was Halo Wars 1 or 2, but it was a 3-on-3 match, and they decided to coordinate their attacks, and as all three of the other team are coming down, suddenly two of them shifted hard, and we didn't notice. We knew they were coming down, so we're all like turtling in, trying to pump out as many units as possible. Next thing I know, I've got 2 scarabs from each team coming down on me. I don't care how good you think you are. You're not stopping that, not without a shit ton of help. And I got wiped off the board in less than 5 minutes. And I still remember opening the door going, you assholes, now I owe you a fucking beer. I thought that was funny. Yep, super unit from the Covenant. Yes, War Sniper, that was it. Yep. Guardian says either strategy is viable in a game as long as you're just facing the computer in 1 versus 1. Absolutely, that is true. Absolutely, without question. And since we're getting to the bottom, oh, you guys didn't tell me. Did the sound effect come in?
Oh, yeah!
1 op 4 remaining. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Okay, so it did come. Thank you, Guardian. I appreciate that. Yeah, because I just want to make sure it does. You trying to say something about me there, War Sniper? You'd be wrong. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad that actually came through, because as soon as I saw that guy coming through the walls, like, I had to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. It fucked up my computer a little bit getting the sound bite, but I should say, but I got it. And unfortunately, guys, as you can see, I'm doing a bit of Overwatch here. Unfortunately, you know how difficult it is to get the actual CG model of them facing the opposite direction, looking below the waist. I swear to God, there's somebody up there trying to stop everybody from actually seeing their butts. Like, oh, I mean, look, you can see on this one that she's got like 3 layers covering her crack. I mean, I know it's supposed to be kind of a Shrine Maiden thing, but come on. Let's see. Eric is in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. My mom's going to tan my hide over this one. Lena says, as long as you can also call for an A10 Thunderbird air. It's not. It's A10 Warthog for air support. The Thunderbird's a different plane. I'm trying to remember. Is this A4? I can't. No, it's not an A4. Anyway, War Sniper says you pronounce it different in Dutch. Well, unfortunately, the Deutschland that I understand is very, 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 very limited, as in what I just said. So, yeah, stuck on that one. Now, you guys have been freaking awesome tonight. An O of Dutch. Just a little bit. All right, let me throw this on. Don't forget, guys, to make sure that you are still subscribed. We've been having some issues on the channel lately, and again, it seems like it's not just me, it's everybody I know who makes content, and everybody's just bleeding subscribers for one reason or another. I don't know why. It's just there. So just make sure you're there, and you should be good. And oh, Guardian's leaving. Okay, A4 was Skyhawk. Sorry, that's right. What was the Thunder Screech? Oh, no, that was the prop-driven plane. No, that was an experimental plane. It never got an actual designation. Oh, I actually sounded German. Deutschland. Yeah. I don't speak a lot of German. I know how to say exit because I used to read the signs as I'm driving. Which also, as you guys heard me say before, is how we got the words ass and fart, because exit in German is actually Asfart. So if gas is exiting out of you, you just say, oh, they thought you said your ass was farting. No, it's not. Oh, Guard says he's got to leave. Looks like Brian's leaving too. I guess since everybody's about to leave, I guess we'll close up tonight. First things first, though, I want to thank everybody for being here. I only have enough content to do this once a week, so it is what it is. I appreciate you guys coming with me every single week here and making sure that we have enough folks that we have some good time. You guys come up with some really funny stuff, some really interesting stuff, too. I got to learn a bit. And turns out I'm not the only one that's had their ESP turn up to about 11. But you never know what the future is going to hold. Now, one of the key things on that is if you're one of the type that can actually see things and you're smart enough to actually watch out for it, as in able to figure out the context, just remember, as soon as you know the future, you're going to inevitably change it. So keep that in mind. That's where Star Wars, when Yoda's like, it's difficult to tell. Always moving is the future. Yeah, because every time you examine it, just like anything else, yeah. Short stream. Well, yeah, that's what short stream compared to 2 weeks ago. They went for 3 hours. Yeah, even I was surprised on that one. It was very difficult to get up in the morning and go to the gym. I'll tell you that. So, just want to say again, you guys are awesome. You're the best. And thank you guys so much for being here. Before you go, safety brief. If you drink, you don't drive. If you drive, you don't drink. If your buddy wants to drink and drive, feel free to beat their ass. It is better than to explain why you just broke someone's nose than to explain to their family why they just broke their neck. Also, there are some stuff moving. Most of the critters are getting ready to go to sleep for the winter. Also, remember, hunting season starts very, very soon, depending on which area you're in. Now, turkey season has already started, so some of them might have been scared out of the forest. So if you're going to be anywhere near the woods, just remember, there's going to be guys in the woods with rifles. It'd be your best idea not to be close to them. However, early in the morning, they will scare stuff up. It happens all the time. I go out on the property and I scare shit up too. It just happens. So just be careful on that, especially on the roads, guys. So far, the weather hasn't gone completely to shit unless you live in Jamaica. So you haven't too much to worry about there. And again, take care of yourself, guys. And oh, I almost forgot. If your little soldier's going into the bush, make sure he wears his poncho. It gets wet there, at least if you know what you're doing. And that's going to be it from me, guys. And it's the Syntax, and I'm signing off.